Hey, my lovelies. Welcome to season 3, episode 5 of the Prosperous Yogini Podcast. The real art, the true art of manifesting, part 2, reverse engineering, bringing your ideas, what is in the non-physical, that feeling, that whisper, that nudge, that idea that keeps coming back. I'd really love to. I wish I could. Those words we use, how we take that in the non-physical into the physical. And I want to start today's podcast like this is like a public service announcement that a goal without a plan is a wish. And it will stay a wish. It will stay non-physical unless you have a plan that feels possible with some actionable steps that, all right, the latter steps might feel a long way off, might not feel possible right now, but there's a few steps in front of you that you absolutely can take action on. Unless you have that, my darling, then it's going to stay a wish. It's going to stay in the non-physical. It's going to stay a desire. And the narrative that I have, that keeps us from taking action. I'm not ready. I'm not good enough. What will people think of me? I don't know enough. I haven't got the technological skills for that. There's too many people doing that already. I'd never be as good as that person. Whatever. Go back to last episode and can I gently remind you, as I remind myself, believe everything that we tell ourselves. I believe everything we're told is a lie, particularly what we tell ourselves. And what I mean by that is question. Pay attention to what you're telling yourself and ask yourself, is this true? What does the data say? And what actually is possible for me? And this is what's so important when it comes to manifesting. And this is, aside from the fact that I think when we say the feeling is the secret, and it is, and your energy matters. Yes, it does. Do I need to be in a high vibing, higher frequency energy? Yes, where possible, but I'm human. Does all the bad shit that goes down around me, is it my fault? No, I'm a human being having a human physical experience. The human form biologically sometimes malfunctions. Not to mention that we are currently sat on a tiny blue dot called Earth, hurtling through space. External stuff happens, right? Okay. But all of that said, the ideas, the calling that you have, this desire that you have, this niggle that you have, that probably keeps coming back, that doesn't leave you because you came here. I do believe this. You came here for a reason. You came here for a purpose. And at different stages of our lives, at different times in our lives, we have different purposes and different callings. So it's not like the one thing you came here to do, and it's not like you can't change your mind. But right now, if I was to say to you, and I do quite like this question, although there are plenty of things that stand in my way too, but if nothing stood in your way, what would you do? What would you create? What would you choose to do? And I know that's not necessarily practical because we have external factors and external commitments, but it's definitely worth coming back to that question and then checking in with yourself. The way I'm choosing to work as a self-employed business owner, the actions that I'm choosing to take, the way I say I'm going to deliver this, whatever this is, does that actually work for me? Is this actually what I want to do? Because so often as women, we are driven by people pleasing, over delivering, undercharging, and often, and I don't think this is necessarily like a female thing, but often doing something a certain way because that's the way everyone does it. I think there's a pod there. I don't think, in fact, I know there's a podcast episode called Break a Norm. The best way that you could deliver something is something that would work for you. I've got a great story on this today's podcast, which ties into the manifesting. So why am I talking about manifesting before I go any deeper? An invitation to you. My ideas to action, my 28-day manifesting course is rolling again. Literally, it is exactly what it says in the tin. We will be taking that idea, the thing you would like to create. And I always will say with this short course, 28-day course. Take one thing. I'm sure you've got lots of ideas. I'm sure there's lots of things you want to do, right? But take that one thing you'd like to do, right? And we're going to get energetically tuned in, tapped into exactly what that is, and then how you want to bring it to life. We will reverse engineer your steps. What are those actionable steps that you're going to take to call in that idea? And I will be supporting you in creating those actionable steps. And then finishing with opening to receive all that is meant for me. And the thing with bringing an idea into physical form, manifesting, is it is a practice. So once we've done it once with one thing, once we've got evidence of, oh, actually, it can work out for me. Things do go wrong and I can change my mind. And sometimes what I think it will look like, it actually works better like that. But no, I actually can do this. And we just need a nugget, a whisper. We need one person to buy something to say, this is going to work. We need a nugget. We need a whisper of evidence that this is possible for our nervous system to feel much safer about it, or for us to feel confident about repeating those steps. It's £97. It's a bit of a no-brainer offer, because alongside the 4 core modules, which take you through those steps, bringing your idea into physical form, it also includes your support from yours truly. You'll come into my Telegram channel. I'm going to talk to you a bit more about in a bit. And we'll have 4 Q&As, and I'll be dropping extra audios. So for the whole of September, you get me in your corner. You get to pick up your phone, put on your earbuds, listen to me. And for 4 weeks, you get the opportunity to ask me a question for £97. I'm just going to say, you could continue to keep waiting. You could continue to, definition of madness is continue to do the same thing, expect a different result. You could continue to hope that alone you'll take action, that your higher self, universe, source, whatever you want to call it, has been nudging you to do. Or you could come and join me for £97, and my darling, I will help you. And it will be far more likely that that idea will come into physical form. Okay, so I'm going to just repeat this message. You might want to count how many times I say this in this episode. A wish, a plan, a goal. A goal without a plan is just a wish, right? And we often, and I think this is where, like, the challenge with manifesting, because here I am saying, if nothing stood in your way, what would you create? What would it look like? And then we often create, imagine something that feels so far removed from where we are now that it doesn't feel possible. Or we limit ourselves because we can't imagine what is possible for us. I hear you. Like, I don't have all the answers when it comes to manifesting. What I do know is this, that like everything in nature, right, in the universe, it is a dance between the yin and the yang, the doing and the allowing. So often I think we separate out these two energies, yet they're not separate. We can be tuning in, energetically supporting ourselves alongside taking action, because the action gives us the information. The action gives us the data to refine our steps and to refine our desires, to refine our ideas, to get really clear on actually what we do want. Because often when we're imagining what we do want, when it comes into physical reality, it can be like, oh, actually, so I quite want this, or actually, I think I'm ready for more, right? Okay. So we can often get trapped, or I think misunderstand what manifesting is. Like, it's not just about sitting around, lying around and feeling good. Okay. It is about tuning in and tapping in and supporting ourselves as energetic beings and listening to the guidance alongside, and I'm wagging my finger for those of you not watching on YouTube, alongside taking some action. And then taking action that is possible. What is the path of least resistance? What is my next step? And this is where reverse engineering plays a massive role, an important role. So let me just use an example, a common example that, frequently support people through when I work with them one-to-one. I have someone who was like, I'd really like to get into doing retreats. They have like a wellness background, a range of modalities, and they'd like to start running retreats. And who'd yet to have a business. We're starting from the bottom. Okay. So if we were like, then go, okay, let's do a 2-week yoga retreat in Bali, go. Because that's their dream. I'd like to be hosting retreats in Bali, living remotely in Bali and hosting retreats. Love that dream. Okay. Wouldn't work for me. I think I spoke about the fact that my little girl loves Devon over Switzerland. We are definitely not living in Bali. But okay, hear me out. What would be the steps that, somebody who doesn't have a business go from there, no audience, to people trusting them enough to invest time, money, and travel to Bali to be with them for a retreat? Okay, so goes back to grow, nurture, sell. This grow, nurture, sell, repeat, grow, nurture, sell, repeat is the practice that all of us as service-based, product-based female founders are on. Okay. First thing I need to do is grow an audience. Now, I would want to go to Bali with me one day. Now, then we'd be like, okay, so she's got to start social media and post lovely pictures about Bali. Listen, if you've never run retreats before, if you don't know what it requires, then the best thing you can do is start running some workshops close to homes, like some woman circles, some moon circles. Perhaps you're into astrology and you're tapping into the astrology and you're doing monthly astrology circles, something like this, monthly yin workshops. You build a community of people, men who like to come to these experiences with you. Perhaps it's a week, it doesn't have to be a weekly offering, it can be, but you offer something that is possible for you. What's my next step? Could I do this? How do I test and refine my offerings? Practice using my services, make offers, make money, practice the exchange of making an offer, selling an offer, alongside growing my audience, not just on social media, having a professional shop front, a website. You don't have to have a website, but it's going to make it damn easier to capture email leads and to make sales. People that are coming to your events are loving them now. Okay, you've been running these for a while. Perhaps you'll be like, okay, I'm used to doing a couple of hour workshops, half a day workshops. What does it look like to do day retreats? What does it look like to do weekend retreats, where I am locally? And I get people loving my retreats, people on wait lists for the next one. And I do this for a while and I refine this. And, I now have a community of people who are just waiting, waiting for me to release my next retreat dates. And then I think I've probably got a community that will follow me out to Bali. Plus, of course, there's always those people that are just going to come anyway because I'm in Bali, nothing to do with me, right? So then I go, okay, I'm going to go on holiday. I'm going to do some research on a retreat center, or perhaps you go on a retreat yourself to Bali, and you figure out where you're going to run this first retreat, and you take that big, massive leap, but you are ready for it. Now, notice I haven't said, and a couple of months later, and then a couple of months later, because I wouldn't fix a time frame to this. And this is one of the other challenges that we do in manifesting. We fix a time frame. And that time frame might be realistic, might not, and probably is not accounting for external circumstances beyond our control that may interrupt that time frame, and also not accounting for what I think, I say this with much love, and I say this back to myself. I definitely underestimate how long it takes to grow and nurture and sell into my audience. It does take, guys, a lot more effort probably than when we initially realized, and it certainly takes a lot of time. One thing that I have learned from being in this game for the long game for 17 plus years, right, that persistent, consistent action in direction of my dreams leads me to what it is I want to call in, what I want to create. So there's an example, right? Probably a bit of an extreme example. I'm sure we don't all want to go and run retreats in Bali, but there's an example of a trajectory. And what you are probably doing, if you are that person who wants to run retreats in Bali, you are probably following someone who is running retreats in Bali, who's been doing it for years, and you didn't see their initial journey. And that is one thing that is so missed. We miss people's initial journey. We compare ourselves to someone who's in a completely different place to us. And even if they are sort of like similar timelines, similar time frames, we're still not comparable in terms of external influences and energetic drains. So you have an idea, you have something you want to do. You've got to ask yourself, okay, how do I get there? And when I'm there, what might that look like? And I ask myself, what works for me? What realistically will work for me? Okay. Then working back, what's the next step I can take? Let me give you another example. Let's come off of retreats and come on to online. This happens a lot. A lot of people are like, I can see I'm at a maximum in terms of what I can deliver in person. I'm not getting any younger. I'd really like to shift a little bit the way I'm working. I'd like to help more people. I'd like to call in an online offer. Never done anything online before. Helped. Have no idea. Right. Oh my God. Like, can't imagine launching an online course, an online membership, right? Never taught anything online before. So the dream is to have an online offer, some semi-passive, passive income, right? To help more people in a scalable way. That's the idea. But what's the next step? To do some one-off stuff online, right? Run some online classes, run a block of online classes, run a few online workshops. Don't give a shit about how many people turn up, because you're literally using this to refine your online equipment. And I don't know what technology I need to use. Well, I'm using a Logitech Brio webcam. It's £149. You have a phone that's probably one of the most powerful recording devices. Plus, if you hop along to YouTube, there are so many videos that will give you basic, more than enough that you need set up for recording online stuff. Like, there's Ask AI, right? There is so much information out there. It is a lie that you don't know. It might be true. You don't know yet, but it's not true that you can't go and find the information. It's not true that you're rubbish with technology that doesn't like you. It's just like, that's not true. Those are the things we tell ourselves. So if I was going to create that online offer, and I'm not done anything online before, my first steps would be to run some stuff online, to run some paid live trainings, to run some online workshops, to run some online classes, to deliver a live online course, not go down the route of perfecting my tech setup, perfecting a course, a sales page, pre-recording it, 18 months later, then selling it. Oh, no, okay. But it's these little incremental steps that lead me to my goal. And what is really important is you keep using the experience of the action that you're taking to refine and reflect, not from, oh, I'm crap, I'm failing, but what is working for me, what isn't working for me. That action gives us information. We learn from the contrast. I've done a whole podcast episode, I know, on contrast. Contrast is the stuff we don't want, and we often feel very negative about, like, oh, it's not working for me, and why have I found myself here, and I've failed. Contrast is gold dust information on this isn't working for me, why not? And like, if I go to the online stuff, sometimes it's like, people aren't buying this, and I'll be like, how many people have you got in your audience? How many people have you got on your mailing list? I don't have a mailing list. I'm like, wow, if one thing I will say to someone who says, I want to start building out online courses, online sales, I will be, do you have a mailing list? And if not, grow it. Because your sales on your online courses, yes, you'll get a couple off social media, but directly correlate to the number of people on your mailing list. Or I've seen this a lot with a lot of the yoga teachers I've worked with recently, who have really secure dedicated in-person community. They are the first people that buy the online offer. But guess what? You're assuming they're not, but the people that have already given you money are the people that are going to buy into your other offers. So it's being sort of using the data and being realistic in terms of what is possible in terms of my next step. So if it's like, I want to create online offers, I want to create scalable offers, I don't have a mailing list, Well, guess what? You're going to do an online freebie that grows your mailing list, because that is going to be part of the journey, part of the path to making sales into online offers. And I want to just tell you, sort of like, I'll give you an example of my business and how I have manifested something from contrast. Very, very quietly, I would want to just say, in terms of what you may have noticed, but also from a place of what works for me. And actually, I've been hard. I'm so proud of myself, how I have just stuck to the question and the answer, what works for me. So back in 2024, in the autumn, I launched my Energy, Mindset, Money, More course. I imagine the idea was this was going to be my signature repeatable program, my mid-price offer. Long story short, it wasn't. It wasn't right. It wasn't quite right. It wasn't bad. It was a great course, and the people that participated in it loved it, and I enjoyed delivering it. But it wasn't, I was looking to work in a way where I was on Zoom calls less, where I wasn't tied down to strict launch formulas, having been in launch cycles through virtually all of 2023, end of 2022, 2023, and into 2024. Been like, launch cycles. I didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't really want to admit it. I don't want to be on many more Zoom calls. I wanted to save that for my one-to-one clients. And then off the back of like the perceived failure of Energy, Mindset, Money and More, I was like, this is a great course and the content of this is really bloody good and needed. How can I do it differently? And came up with the idea of Soul-Led Success Formula, £97 course where I deliver it, self-paced study with support in WhatsApp, and did that a few times through the start of 2025, and it worked really well, sold really well. It was great having the additional support in WhatsApp. I'm voice note queen. Voice note coaching is my superpower. You're hearing this, my zone of genius. You're hearing this? I love it. And like, although it's great when I meet my one-to-one clients, whether we do it in person or online, like, it's the ongoing support where the magic really, really happens. So I was like, this is great. But what the challenge I had with WhatsApp was, I wanted this to be a bit more scalable, to be able to support and help more people in this offer. And WhatsApp, I know if you let me know that you experience this WhatsApp, you're in a group, you don't check your phone, and 24 hours later you pick up your phone and you've missed over 100 messages. Tell me that happens to you, and tell me you just archive it, right? So WhatsApp's not great. When I open the Q&A for the group, everyone puts in their message, and then obviously we see X amount of messages. And I am in, and have been since January this year, with my current business coach, a Telegram group, and I'm loving it. It's like the best way to me to access the course, best way to me to access her ongoing training, best way for me to access her ongoing support. Like, I'm absolutely loving it. It really works for me. And one thing I've learned is, if it's really working for me and I love it, then if I do that, then it really works for me, and then it really works for the people that this offer suits. So I was like, I'm going to use Telegram and instead of WhatsApp. And I tested it out. So instead of going straight into, this is like the actionable steps, instead of going straight into a paid offer, guys, I did the grow, nurture, sell, the relaunch of the podcast. I did it in Telegram. And what was really interesting, this is why I'm super proud of myself. What was really interesting was about 50% of the people that opted in to the freebie actually opted into Telegram. And I personally messaged them to say, those that didn't, hey, you're missing out, you've got to get it in Telegram. I've had one person come back and say, oh, I really don't like Telegram, I'm not doing it because it's Telegram. Just one person. And then the people that did opt into grow, nurture, sell, didn't have, the engagement wasn't quite what I wanted. But that said, I had a small number of people engage, respond. I loved working with them that way. They loved it. So it was just that little nugget, that little window, that little magic that I needed to see to go, I'm going to do it this way. I've had this idea, I've had this calling that I want a mid-price offer. I want a way of helping people longer term, but outside the time and financial commitment that is my one-to-one and mastermind offers, right? What does that look like? Not more Zoom calls, not more Zoom calls. I want it to be ongoing support. I don't want it to be a short 8-week course. Like, it's not enough. Like, long-term change and transformation comes from long-term support. So I then was like, okay, I'm going to run Soul Led Success Formula in the summer, and I'm going to do it through this Telegram group. And now I'm starting to build up a body of training and a body of audio on this Telegram group, and I'm continuing to test it. I'm continuing to gather the information, gather the data, and see it for myself, like from a nervous system perspective, that this works for me and this works for those people that want to work this way. And it's been absolutely brilliant. The people that have come into the Soul Led Success Formula, and we're not talking large numbers of people, but the people that have come in and engaged and used the Telegram and listened to the audios and listened to the Q&A have had incredible results. That's got me really excited. The feeling is the secret. I really hope you're picking up from this story how this is just a pure dance between energy and action. I took this action, and then I experienced this, and then I felt this, and then I noticed this, then I took this action, and then this happened, and then this inspired me to do this. And it's an unfolding path. The idea has been, I want to have a mid-price offer that supports people long term, that is lower priced than my masterminds and one-to-ones, but is at a price and delivered in a way that allows me to support them how they want to be supported. That's been the idea, right? And these have been my steps, and I'm really excited to say that I do have this mid-price offer. It's not an outward offer. So if you want to be in my inner circle, say drop me a message, drop me a DM, and you can come and have a sneak peek into the Telegram and see if it's going to work for you, because that's really important, right? Because this mid-price offer is for people who really love, having an app on their phone that they can go to when they're ready, stick me in their earbuds and listen to the audio, and know that once a week they can ask me a question and I'll go back to them. It's kind of that. It's taken a lot. And this is like mindset work matters. It's taken a lot of, let's say, I want to say resilience. But I also want to say perhaps bloody-mindedness, that I want to do it this way. And I might actually, maybe if I'd gone down an 8-week mini mind type thing with Zoom calls and one-to-one, might have sold initially easier, but actually it's not what I want to do. And this is manifesting. This is having the goal, having the desire, having the wish, and then being really clear on what it is. This is what I want to do. This is how I want to work. This is what I want to create, right? And being unwavering in that. And then instead of saying that's not possible, no one would buy that, I don't know how to get there, I'm not ready for that, none of that crap, guys. Going back, reverse engineering. Okay, here's the dream, here's the goal, what's the plan, what's the next step, how can I take action, how can I be in the doing, how can I be in the doing energy, taking action, and using the action to learn, to receive contrast, to receive stuff that doesn't work. And I had one person, like I said, one person that said they wouldn't join the Telegram for the Grow Nurture Sale, and then say they were disappointed that I'm using Telegram. And I completely respect that. It's not for everyone, but it actually, so the universe does send you these signs. It was actually really useful for me, because I was like, that's okay, because it doesn't have to be for everyone. And the people that is for, I've got evidence of already, because I've been working with them, that it really does work. And I know 100% this works for me. And then I know, because 100% it works for me, then I'm going to be able to sell it, that I'm going to show up for it. And then people that are in it are going to get the results that they will. That is manifesting. That is manifesting right there. Because I can't miss what is meant for me. And I'm going to allow myself to have the time to let it evolve rather, none of this, right? The main thing I want you to take away from this, none of this was like, this has to happen by here. I need to know the answers by, I will launch this by, I will do a big launch. This is a backdoor secret offer that people that do my £97 courses get invited into, that people at my mastermind and one-to-ones have access to, and then are invited into. You can come and have a sneak peek. I'll invite you into it, podcast listeners. Okay. But this is manifesting, and I will help you do it, because I like to think after this week's episode and last week's episode, that you can see that, it's a human approach, it's a practical approach, it's like a realistic approach. And then that sounds like, oh, I'm limiting myself. It's not that. I just understand that this is a practice of expansion, of where is the capacity in the nervous system right now to take action and to envisage what is possible for you. How do I act on that? What are my next steps? And as I act on that, where is the challenge in the nervous system to expand my energy, my belief system, and what is possible for me? And then I just let that be a repeated pattern. There's not an end game. There's not an end destination. I will not have made it when I got to here, because my darling, you've made it already. Because you're listening to this podcast, but you've made it already. What I want, though, is more money, time, and joy in your hands. That's what we're manifesting here together. And I could just, be totally honest with you, doing it alone is damn hard. Free stuff like this podcast really does help, I know. But what really shifts is when you invest in yourself. So for £97, doing my ideas to action, no brainer. If you listen to this podcast before the 5th of September, if it's after then and you're like, Amy, I want to be in your mastermind, I want to work with you one-to-one, or what is this inner circle secret offer that you have, drop me a message. I'll let you know how you can work with me, right? That is when you commit. And I've seen it so many times, like people just give you money to force themselves to take action. I'm like, yes, you probably could have done that without me, but giving me the money means you're actually going to do it. Okay, my darlings, so we'll be into September, my favorite month. I really hope as many of you can come and join me for my ideas to action, and I will be back in September.